The Body Snatcher by Robert Louis Stevenson. Part 4. Fettes knew that he was in a terrible situation. But what could he do? The secret of Jane Galbraith and the entry in the accounts book closed his mouth. Hours passed and the class began to arrive. The parts of Gray's body were passed out to different students. Nobody in the class noticed anything unusual. Over the next 2 days, Fettes slowly began to relax. Before the end of the week, he was no longer frightened or troubled by his conscience. He saw little of Macfarlane outside class. At times they spoke a word or two, and Macfarlane was always friendly, but he never spoke about their common secret. Even when Fettes whispered to him, "I'm now with the lions," Macfarlane smilingly put his finger to his lips. Some weeks later there was an occasion that brought them together. Mr. K was again short of corpses, and the students were becoming unhappy. At the same time there came news of a burial at Glenmore, deep in the country. This cemetery was far from the nearest village or town. Late one afternoon, Fettes and Macfarlane set off for that quiet and green place. They wore heavy coats and carried a large bottle of brandy. It rained all the way to the village of Pencook, where they stopped at a tavern. Here they ate an excellent meal with fine wine in front of an open fire. With every drink they became friendlier. Soon Macfarlane offered some gold coins to his companion. "This is for your help the other morning," he said. Fettes took the money. "I was a fool until I knew you. Now I don't care about God, or hell, or the devil. These things may frighten boys, but not men of the world like you and I." By this time it was getting late, so the young men paid their bill and called for their carriage. It was brought round to the door, with both lamps shining brightly. "Where are you going?" asked the landlord. "Peebles," said Macfarlane, and they drove in that direction until they were clear of the last houses of the town. Then they put out their lights and turned down the road for Glencorse. They travelled in complete darkness, accompanied only by the sound of rain. After some minutes, the road narrowed and worsened, forcing them to light one of their lanterns. Finally, they came through the trees and arrived at their gloomy destination. It was now surrounded by huge and moving shadows. They began digging up the grave. After only 20 minutes, they reached the coffin. As they did so, Macfarlane hurt his hand on a stone. Angrily, he threw it above his head, where it hit the lamp they had placed above the grave. The sound of breaking glass quickly died away. Soon they could only hear the whispering of the rain and the wind. Their task was almost completed, so they decided to finish it in the dark. They pulled out the coffin and broke it open. Then they put the body into a sack and loaded it onto the carriage. With Fettes holding the sack in place and Macfarlane directing the horse, they drove back to the town. The rain was getting worse. Both men were now wet through to the skin. It was also making the road very bad. As the carriage bumped up and down, the sack between them fell, now on one, now on the other. This had a severe effect on their nerves. Fettes became very distressed. He looked at the sack, and to his horror, it somehow seemed larger than before. And from all over the countryside, the cries of farm dogs accompanied their journey. A terrifying idea grew and grew in his mind. Had some change occurred in the dead body? Was this why the dogs were making that terrible noise?
"For God's sake," he said, "we must have light."
MacFarlane stopped the horse. Without replying, he got down and tried to light the remaining lamp. The rain was still pouring down, and it was not an easy task in the wet and the darkness. At last he succeeded in lighting the lamp. It was now possible for the two men to see each other. They could also see the thing they had along with them. The shape of the body was clear in the wet sack. The shoulders, the body and the head were all distinct. And yet both men stared in disbelief at what they saw before them.
"My God, that was a woman when we put her in." "Hold that lamp," said MacFarlane. "We must look at the face."
Fetters took the lamp. MacFarlane untied the sack and pulled down the cover from the head. When the light revealed its features, a wild cry went up into the night. The face before them had appeared in the nightmares of both young men.
"My God, it's him!"
They jumped down onto the road, knocking over the lamp. The noise of it falling and breaking frightened the horse into running away. It raced off towards Edinburgh, carrying with it the dead and long dissected Grey.